At one point, the first years of the yeshiva, there were some of the bochrim that got schlepped into certain politics that was going on between people here in Miami. And this got to the Rebbe. So the Rebbe sent a zettel saying these words, and I'm going to read the words. Sof sof tolk al dvar abachurim sheyichisha. Sof kol sof, there should be a seder. You should take care concerning the bochrim that are there. Lahasbiram shenishluchu shama lilma Torah, to explain to them that they were sent there to learn Torah. Ubeim eiskim bepolitike kayetze bezeh, and if they're involved in politics, things like that, eini mucham lekachas al atzmi bittul Torah shelahem betur shluchim. So I'm not ready, the Rebbe says, to take upon myself the wasting time of learning Torah, their wasting time of learning Torah as shluchim. V'yachzaru behegdim la'mokim shenimsham nishlucha. Let them go as soon as possible back to the place they were sent from. V'kal v'dal. V'kal means v'kai lohavin. Kal lohavin, it's easy to understand. V'dal means v'dai lamevin. It's enough to tell somebody who understands. It means there's more to it. And this obviously made a big difference. And from then on, obviously, the Bochrim stopped getting involved at all. Had a big teyelis, a great influence on the Bochrim, and they learned very well after that. But besides that, this letter, as much as it's a very sharp settle to the Bochrim, and it shook them up, but it also brought out something very interesting. Because sometimes the Bocher is sent away on shlichus, he doesn't remember, doesn't think if the Rebbe remembers him, if the Rebbe cares. He's a shliach, they only say it's a shliach, really. Did the Rebbe send him, the Rebbe not send him? All kinds of things that come up, Bochem Shluchim. So as much as here the Rebbe said something very sharp, but in the meantime the Rebbe said clearly that he takes himself achrayas of the shluchim. Therefore he said, if you're not doing the shlichus, I'm not ready to take the achrayas of Yubitul Teira upon me. But in the meantime, the Rebbe brought out clearly here that it's his achrayas, so the shluchim are under the achrayas of the Rebbe. So you could imagine what the shluchim are. So even though it came through something like negative, and the Rebbe gave musar, but the Rebbe in the meantime was telling him, I'm taking the achrayas. And obviously self-understood that after that, things changed very much and all the politics were forgotten. Another thing, at one point, there was one father who felt that he didn't want his son to come back as shlichus. His son did want to come back and he didn't want, so he wrote to the Rebbe that he thinks that he shouldn't go back. And the Rebbe answered like this. We're talking here about somebody who's many, many years after Bar Mitzvah. In other words, your son is many years after Bar Mitzvah. But the one that's asking is somebody else. That you're somebody else, it's you, the father, not the son. And you do up Psak-Din Rambam, we know the Rambam Paskins, the Odom Yilmud B'mokim Sheli B'chofetz. A person should learn where his heart wants. And halacha zu nichteva b'hilchas kibbutz. And this halacha is written in the halachas of kibbutz. That means that it's not just that we overlook kibbutz for the sake of learning Torah. It's part of kibbutz to learn where he wants. So the Rebbe basically was telling him, if your son wants to come back and that's where he wants to learn, then why are you mixing in? In other words, you're asking for him. He's a big boy and he could ask himself and he wants to go. So the Rebbe said he should go. A similar thing that the Rebbe once, there was somebody who was here, a shliach, and he got sick and he had to go through surgery. So his father wrote to the Rebbe that he wants to bring him back to New York to do the surgery there. And I don't remember the Lashon, but the Rebbe wrote that, why are you asking? Why isn't your son himself asking? And when his son asked, he wrote to the Rebbe, should I come back? So the Rebbe answered, V'chi ein reifim b'Miami. There are no doctors in Miami. Why do you have to come back? Which shows how much by the Rebbe the shlichus was so important that even to have surgery, it wasn't major surgery, it was minor surgery, but just to have a surgery which would make sense, he should go back to his hometown with his parents. The Rebbe said, V'chi ein reifim b'Miami. There are no doctors in Miami. That's how much the Rebbe showed how the shlichus of the Bochrim is important.